Join me for a reverse get ready with me while I give you my expert opinion and insider knowledge on what I believe is happening at Sephora and LVMH right now on the Huda Beauty scandal. This is from my perspective as a marketer and a former publicist, as well as a former LVMH employee. Let's get into it. So first, background. As many of you know, the Jewish community has been up in arms about Huda and her anti-Semitic blood libel and propaganda. Since October 7th, we campaigned really hard for Sephora to drop Huda, and the best that we got done was a brief drop of Huda Beauty from their holiday campaign. It was a gesture, not the solution. That activism was done amongst many different influencers, people in the community, as well as end you hatred and pens for swords. And it's kind of really upsetting actually that we couldn't get it done. But I'm grateful to the Iranians who have now raised their voice. I wish they would have raised their voice previously, but here we are. So the fact that the CEO is Iranian is an additional data point. Obviously, this situation must be, I assume, very close to her heart and very personally difficult. And in fact, it makes her job harder because she is clearly going to have an opinion in the situation. However, being part of the group, obviously, there is the politics of navigating the LVMH ecosystem, of which I'm very familiar with, including outside agencies that work on these types of crisis communications decisions. I have no doubt that right now Sephora and their agency partner is working diligently to come up with both a decision but also a statement, because we have not heard from them yet, and that's really important. Now, previously, I believe Sephora did not drop Huda Beauty because they were scared of the Muslim community backlash. That's my opinion, but I'm pretty sure that I'm right. Now, from a brand perspective, to me, this is a very clear-cut case. It doesn't matter that it was the Jewish community that was outraged or the Iranian community. What matters is that Sephora, and by extension, LVMH, has a policy. They have a policy for vendors. And part of that policy includes no hate, harassment, alignment with organizations that may cause harm, extremism, terror ties. I mean, kind of 101 things you would think a company wouldn't want to associate with. That being said, I am under no illusions that if this was the Black community or the Muslim community that was going after them to drop Huda Beauty or any other vendor, I do believe they would have been dropped by now. However, there's precedent. Some of you may remember John Galliano's anti-Semitic outburst in Paris. Dior, part of LVMH, suspended him in February 2011. And then in March 2011, he was fired. Galliano, sitting in a restaurant, throwing out an anti-Semitic slur while he's wasted drunk, seems honestly like child's play compared to what Huda Beauty has said and posted. This is way worse. Huda has aligned herself with 2 terror organizations in her own words and actions and what she's posted. Like, this is not like somebody saying something about her. Like, she knows what she has done. She knows. And she knows very well what the Iranian regime does. That's also another thing that she lied about. So what I believe is happening now is the CEO of Sephora, in collaboration with LVMH management and their crisis comms agency, who I know and love, are all figuring out the best path forward. But the other thing they're thinking about is what I like to call the pebble in the pond scenario. Drop a pebble in the pond, there's a ripple effect. So if they drop Huda, forget about the money. The financials of it, they can write off, they'll figure out a way. The money doesn't matter. It's the backlash. And again, going back to if this was any other group, we know it would be handled, but LVMH, in the past, Sydney Toledano, who was the one who fired John Galliano, absolute moral clarity. Granted, 2011, a different time in social media land in terms of the amplification of things, the opinions of things, the polarization of the world, all of that. It's a tricky, tricky situation. But here's what I do know, and if you've gotten this far in the video, I thank you for watching. What does have to happen, and very soon, because the clock is ticking, is a statement. They must come out with a statement. And the statement better be that they're dropping her, because that is the right thing to do. If you are a brand, your reputational damage by aligning with someone like Huda Beauty, who sides with extremists, who's a terror sympathizer, says everything about you.